नमस्कार जी।
जी, मैं कह रहा था कि जरा रिधिमा को देख लीजिए, क्यों नहीं आई है।
आप मुझे सुन सकते हैं संदीप जी?
हाँ हाँ, आपकी आवाज आ रही है। मैं कह रहा था रिधिमा पांडे
हाँ,
को जरा
रिधिमा
देखो।
को आपका संदेश तो दे दिया था, आने वाली होंगी, मैं देखती हूँ।
अच्छा ठीक है, ठीक।
Sir, we are already Facebook live. Now we are going YouTube live. We are live to the world. Welcome to Dr. TSPR show. This is Dr. Tangella Shiva Prasad Reddy alias Dr. TSPR. Namaste, Adab, hello. Once again, an important topic, and this topic will lead India because I am born on the banks of River Krishna and we have seen what is happening there. But before that, let us all, because I had opportunity to visit Tekri Ganga and all whenever I was landing in Delhi. Such beautiful river and it leads India. So, what is happening with Ganga? This show is predominantly based on the real happenings in Haridwar. People thought that Uttarakhand, after it is separated from Uttar Pradesh, will have zero corruption, absolute tolerance towards natural resources. But the flip side, the natural resources in abundance in that area, whether it is sand or otherwise, they have been on the ruins to feed only selected few. When such is the case, the human resources, the natural resources belong to every citizen of this country. Then how can only a few enjoy such type of luxury, and that too at the cost of polluting Mother Ganga? This is the topic for today. Let us hear from the guests, because some guests would leave as early as 7:30 or 7:45. I would request them. So I am connecting Swami Shivanand Saraswati-Ji, head of Maitri Sadan, हरिद्वार से. सभी अतिथिगण को मेरा प्रणाम. I'll just introduce. Then Ravi Chopra-Ji, he's a renowned environmentalist and chairman of 2 expert committees appointed by Supreme Court, whether it is 2013 or otherwise, to study floods and Chardham project in Uttarakhand. और मेरे माननीय, I can say, is a good friend, and I will say is a mentor too, because I always keep fighting with him whenever we come on the show. Mr. Sandeep Pandey, makes essay awardee, always on the run for common good in larger public interest. At the same time, we have Vidhi Verma-ji, and then we have Varsha Verma-ji. Then now we got even Ridhima Pandey, FFF. They were connecting with my channel in southern part. We have been doing some good works with FFF here in southern region when it came to environment. Now we have another such committed FFF from Haridwar. So welcome to this special show, sir. क्योंकि रवि चोपड़ा जी जल्दी जाना चाहते हैं, that is what I have been given to understand. So I did not want to play video immediately or read something else. So shall I start with Maitri Sadan स्वामी से 2 बात करने के बाद मैं रवि चोपड़ा जी को इनवाइट कर सकता हूँ, क्योंकि जो ब्रह्मचारी हमारे आत्मबोधानंद जो अनशन पे है, who is fasting this 19th, it will be 1 month. तो मूल रूप से क्या कारण है, उनसे सुनने के बाद I will invite रवि चोपड़ा जी. या रवि चोपड़ा जी आप ही बात करना चाहते हो, प्लीज गो ahead because you are very very experienced.
I have told my next appointment that I will be late, so I can stay till 7:45. Please show your video.
Wonderful, sir. Wonderful. Wonderful. स्वामी जी, मैं जब तक वीडियो चालू करूं आप थोड़ा बताइए क्या हो रहा है वहाँ पर गंगा पे, क्योंकि आई एम थैंकफुल टू अनदर जर्नलिस्ट फ्रॉम वेस्ट उत्तर प्रदेश हु हैज़ अलाउड मी द लग्जरी ऑफ यूजिंग हिज मटेरियल so that it is easy, is Jatin Diman, on how they are trying to ruin Ma Ganga by exploiting the natural resources, how sadhus were poisoned to death and someone was even murdered. Being a doctor into journalism, it really beats my intelligence. What the hell is happening? साधु जी, आप आपसे शुरू करते हैं, मैं तब तक ये वीडियो भी रेडी कर लेता हूँ। आप अनम्यूट करके बताइए, ये इसको हरी हरी करके आप बात कीजिए। ब्रह्मचारी आत्मबोधानंद जी क्यों अनशन पे है? वो आई थिंक ही इज डिस्कनेक्टेड। Oh, he got disconnected. I'll play this. स्वामी जी अब कनेक्ट हो गए? आपने गलत बटन दबाई। स्वामी जी कनेक्ट हो जाइए आप।
थैंक यू।
कनेक्शन ऑफ हो गया था। हेलो,
जल चित्र अभियान की और वीडियोस देखने के लिए सब्सक्राइब करें और बेल आइकॉन को दबाएं। हमारे अभियान का सहयोग करने के लिए वीडियो की डिस्क्रिप्शन में दिए गए
मां गंगा की सफाई के लिए अब तक लगभग 21,000 करोड़ की 200 से अधिक परियोजनाओं को स्वीकृति दी जा चुकी है।
एक तरफ अविरल गंगा और दूसरी तरफ निर्मल गंगा।
मैं तो प्राण दे दूंगी अगर गंगा को लेता हूं। मुझे तो अविरल और निर्मल गंगा देनी ही है देशवासियों को।
स्वामी निगमानंद आश्रम से जुड़े थे। अवैध खनन के खिलाफ 2011 में उनकी मौत यहीं हरिद्वार में हो गई। 115 दिन के अनशन के बाद आश्रम का आरोप है कि उन्हें जहर देके मारा गया। उस समय भी भारतीय जनता पार्टी की सरकार थी उत्तराखंड में। उसके बाद बाबा नागनाथ बनारस में 114 दिन का अनशन किया 2014 में, उनकी जान गई। आचार्य गोकुलानंद जिन्होंने स्वामी निगमानंद के साथ पहला अनशन 1998 में इस आश्रम की तरफ से किया था अवैध खनन के खिलाफ, उनकी हत्या हो गई नैनीताल में जब वो अज्ञातवास में रह रहे थे। और फिर
स्वामी जी मेरे
भी इसी को अपने
स्वामी जी
की स्थली चुना और उनकी जान चली गई। तो इस तरह से
स्वामी जी
साधु अनशन करके
स्वामी जी
एक साधु की हत्या हुई, इतनी जानें जा चुकी हैं।
स्वामी जी एक से ये वीडियो के बाद में बात करिए। स्वामी जी
ब्रह्मचारी आत्मबोधानंद तुम संघर्ष करो, हम तुम्हारे साथ हैं। गंगा को अविरल बहने दो, बहने दो, बहने दो। गंगा को निर्मल रहने दो, रहने दो, रहने दो। गंगा पे बड़े बात
पिछले 145 दिनों से आमरण अनशन पर है। उससे पहले स्वामी सानंद जो है उनका शरीर शांत हो गया, शहादत हो गई गंगा के लिए। लेकिन ये हरिद्वार के लोग शांत बैठे हुए, एक आश्चर्यजनक बात है। हरिद्वार के लोगों को खड़ा होना पड़ेगा। हरिद्वार के लोगों से अपील है, हरिद्वार के लोगों से निवेदन है कि वो अधिक से अधिक संख्या में पहुंच करके माँ गंगा के लिए जो लड़ाई लड़ रहे हैं, संत है उनको समर्थन दे। गंगा को निर्मल बहने दो, बहने दो, बहने दो। गंगा को निर्मल बहने दो, बहने दो, बहने दो। गंगा को अविरल बहने दो, बहने दो, बहने दो। गंगा को अविरल बहने दो, बहने दो, बहने दो। गंगा को अविरल।
भाई एक साधु बैठे हुए हैं अनशन पे, 144 दिन हो गए। ये ब्रह्मचारी आत्मबोधानंद है और सरकार इनकी बात नहीं सुन रही। आज 145 दिन से सिर्फ पानी और शहद पे। और इसके पहले एक मर्द थे, उनका नाम था स्वामी ज्ञान स्वरूप साधन। वो पहले प्रोफेसर थे, IIT कानपुर में GD अग्रवाल के नाम से जाने जाते थे। तो ये कह रहे हैं गंगा पे बांध मत बनाओ, और सरकार इनकी बात नहीं सुन रही। तो पहले वो मर गए और इनका भी देखो 145 दिन हो गया। आप कितने दिन जी? ये गंगा का जो ऊपरी हिस्सा है ना, भागीरथी, अलकनंदा और फिर गंगा पे भी, तो इनकी कई परियोजनाएं, करीब 54 परियोजनाएं हैं जो इस समय निर्माणाधीन है या
गंगा का निर्माण के लिए कुछ है ना सर,
बांध जो बना रहे हैं,
बांध का निर्माण करना चाह रहे हैं
इसको रोकने के लिए, क्योंकि उनका कहना है गंगा अगर बहेगी नहीं तो साफ नहीं रहेगी। गंगा अगर बहेगी,
सरकार वैसे सुरक्षा के लिए कर रही है, अगर जैसे कि बांध
नहीं, बांध का सुरक्षा से तो नहीं, बांध तो बिजली बनाने के लिए और सिंचाई के लिए बनाते हैं, पर बांध अगर बना देंगे तो उसका।
तो मैं ये संक्षिप्त में फिर बाद में आता हूँ। बांध जो स्वामी जी आपके यहाँ से थोड़ा आपके यहाँ से कुछ आपकी आवाज़ कट करके आ रही है, क्योंकि COP 26 जो हम कट के आ रही है आपके पास से ही, जो या आयरलैंड में जो सदस्य होने वाली है नवंबर में, इसके लिए हमारे चैनल पर निरंतर पर्यावरण के ऊपर हर एक शो वी आर कमिंग ऑन with live shows every day on COP 26, wherein we have to reduce the emissions and you have to protect the environment. When such is the case, you are destroying the Himalayan region wherein the rivers flow. Where is the need for construction of such type of dams at the cost of destruction of ecology, without which human cannot survive? बोलिए स्वामी जी, आप बात कीजिए, क्योंकि आपके पास ये आवाज आ रहा, बात करिए।
हेलो, हमारी आवाज आ रही है?
आ रही है, बात करिए।
आप हमारी इस बार का जो मांग है, वो मांग ये है कि मांग कुछ नहीं इस बार हमारी, जितना चीज सरकार हमको लिखित में दे दिया है हम उसी की मांग कर रहे हैं, कुछ पूरा। आप लोग देखे होंगे लिस्ट में। हाँ, तब हमने कुछ ऐसी बात भी उठाई है कि होता यह है कि आज यदि निगमान में गोकुलानंद की हत्या हुई और उसमें ये दोषी पकड़ा जाता, निगमानंद की हत्या हुई, सीबीआई जांच की, सीबीआई क्लोजर रिपोर्ट लगाई, कोर्ट ने कहा तुमने जांच नहीं किया, इन बिंदुओं पर जांच करो, और सीबीआई उन बिंदुओं पर जांच करने पर जुदा फंस जाएगी, फिर सीबीआई जांच नहीं कर रही है। और यदि निगमानंद की हत्या की जांच में दोषी को सजा मिल जाता तो सानंद जी की हत्या नहीं होती। और सानंद जी को जिस हिसाब से 144 धारा लगा करके उनको उठा करके 24 घंटा के अंदर मार दिया, जब क्या का प्रगना मस्ती जो था उसने कहा था कि हम जवाबदेही में ले जा रहे हैं, हमारी गारंटी है, और 24 घंटा के अंदर मार दिया। यदि वहां दोषी की सजा हो जाती तो पुनः आत्मोदान को किस नहीं देता। यदि उसकी जांच हो जाती, आज पद्मावती की जो स्थिति है, व्हील चेयर पकड़ी हुई है, ठीक से अपना काम नहीं कर पा रही है, वो मेड के सहारे जी रही है, ये नहीं होता। इसलिए इन मांगों के साथ हम इन मांगों को भी रखते हैं कि सरकार ये न समझे कि हम मारते जाएंगे और ये दबता जाएगा। इसलिए यह आंदोलन एक बहुत ही एक अहम आंदोलन है, जो सरकार को इस बात के लिए हम दिखाएंगे, तुम किसी को उठा के किसी का मार देगा, कोई अनशन में बैठा हुआ है और मार देगा और कहेगा कि अनशन से मर गया, यानी अनशन से मरा ये कोई पहलू ही नहीं हुआ। कितनी विडंबना है, पहले लोग अनशन से मरते थे, यह बवाल का कारण होता था कि सरकार इतना संवेदन शून्य हो गई है, अनशन से लोग मर गए। अब इन सरकार के लिए अनशन से मर जाना ये गुनाह, ये कोई मुद्दा नहीं है। अनशन से मर गए, अनशन करते करते हम क्या करते, लेकिन अनशन से न मर करके इस दे के मारा है। तो इस बात को यदि हम नहीं उठाएंगे तो बलिदान होता चला जाएगा।
स्वामी
बलिदान की कड़ी को हम एक ये दिखाना चाहते हैं कि जितनी मांगे हैं, खास करके आप लोग पढ़िएगा निगमान केस में जो सीबीआई जज ने फैसला दिया है कि सीबीआई ने जांच नहीं किया है, और सीबीआई जांच क्यों नहीं कर रही है, तो निगमान के केस में सीबीआई ने हिस्सा रिपोर्ट को बदल दिया है, हिस्सा को चेंज कर दिया है, और कोर्ट ने कहा है कि उनके पेरेंट जिंदा है और उनसे तुम डीएनए मैच कराओ, और यदि उनसे डीएनए मैच कराया जाएगा तो हमको विश्वास दे उनके एक सीओ ने विश्वास से हमको खबर किया था डायरेक्टली कि वीजा बदला हुआ है, इसलिए मैंने ईश्वर मांग किया। और यदि
आपकी आवाज़ संपर्क टूट गया स्वामी जी।
और पैटर्न करेगा
तो स्वामी जी आपके मूल रूप से मैं आपको दो चीज़ पूछना चाह रहा हूँ, क्योंकि आपका आवाज़ जो है, दो चीज़ पूछना चाह रहा हूँ। किसने साजिश करी है और किसने अनशन पर बैठने वालों को मारने की साजिश कर रहे हैं और क्यों कर रहे हैं, और ये ब्रह्मचारी आत्मा बोधानंद स्वामी कहाँ से है और ये अनशन क्यों कर रहे हैं?
अब ये बात प्रश्न है कि क्यों मारती। पूरे हरिद्वार में साधुओं का एक समूह है और सबको ये तथाकथित धर्म के ठेकेदार पार्टी और संस्थाओं ने अपने प्रत्यंगुल में ले रखा है। कोई इनके विरुद्ध जा नहीं सकते हैं। एकमात्र सदन ही इसका खुल के विरोध करती है। जो न सरकार को पसंद है, नो इन साधुओं को पसंद है, नो माफियाओं को। और अब तो इस बार के मांग में आप देखे होंगे हम जुडिशरी को भी ले लिए, क्योंकि दुर्भाग्य की बात है कि हरिद्वार का जुडिशरी, मैं बाहर के विवाद नहीं करता हूँ, या यहाँ के माफियाओं और प्रशासन, इसके साथ हमको पुख्ता प्रमाण है, इस पर की जांच बहती हुई है, उस जांच में मैं पूरा पुख्ता प्रमाण के साथ दे दिया हूँ। तो ये लोग मिल करके, क्योंकि निरंजन पिताजी वाली बात मैं इसलिए उठाया हूँ कि इससे ये प्रमाण हो जा रहा है कि यहाँ के न्यायाधीश सब कैसे यहाँ के प्रशासन से मिले हुए हैं, पुख्ता प्रमाण हो जा रहा है।
क्योंकि ये बड़ी बात है, ये इसीलिए मैं, ये बड़ी बात है, बहुत बड़ी बात है ये, क्योंकि न्यायाधीश और प्रशासन मिले हुए हैं।
मैंने लिखित में दे दिया हूँ।
और माफिया, कौन सी माफिया है ये, कौन सी माफिया जो है प्रशासन और न्यायाधीश को मिलने की?
पहले तो खनन माफिया और प्रेशर माफिया, यहाँ का खनन माफिया बहुत ही प्रभावी है। गंगा का जो बेल्ट है, यह बेल्ट है दो पहाड़ी के बीच में है, यहाँ पत्थर ही पत्थर है, तो पत्थर को खोदते जाओ गंगा को ये रसातल में डाल दो। तो उसी से, और पत्थर का व्यापार एक ऐसा व्यापार है जो समझिए कि इसका कोई अंत ही नहीं है। और जितना चीफ मिनिस्टर से लेकर के, इससे पहले त्रिवेंद्र सिंह रावत चीफ मिनिस्टर थे, हमारे पास पत्र है कि डायरेक्ट पत्र अमित शाह को पत्र लिख करके, और वो खनन बंद हो गया था एनएमसी से, उसको खुलवाए, या त्रिवेंद्र सिंह रावत स्वयं अमित शाह को लिख करके और अमित शाह के द्वारा खुलवाए। ये दोनों पत्र मेरे पास है, इसका प्रमाण। तो जहाँ का चीफ मिनिस्टर सीधा इन्वॉल्व होगा, अब चीफ मिनिस्टर सीधा इन्वॉल्व क्यों है, तो उनका अपना भतीजा उसमें सन्निहित था। तो जो चीफ मिनिस्टर है और हरिद्वार में जो कोई भी एक अधिकारी अच्छा आ गया, वह टिक नहीं पाता है, और जो माफियाओं का सरगना आता है वह यहाँ पर मजे से जीता है। तो इस ढंग से एक जोड़ी हो गई, वह जोड़ी ऊपर से चलती है। और सबसे बड़ी बात है, हम लोग साधु हैं, इन लोगों का इसका भय नहीं है कि साधु को कुछ होगा तो साधु विरोध करेगा, क्योंकि सबके सब मैं कह रहा हूँ कि तथाकथित धर्म के ठेकेदार पार्टी और संस्थान है, सबको अपने चंगुल में ले रखा है। और इतना ही नहीं, उनमें उन लोगों में नाना प्रकार की खामियां और जो हो उसके चलते वो सामने आ नहीं पाते हैं। मैं एक छोटा सा उदाहरण बताऊं, सानंद जी की श्रद्धांजलि सभा थी, और हमारे यहाँ से, यहाँ के जितने गण्यमान्य साधु सब हैं, सबको काट गया कि आप लोग कम से कम अनशन के समय में नहीं आए, तो श्रद्धांजलि सभा में साधु गंगा के लिए प्राण त्यागा है, आप कम से कम श्रद्धांजलि सभा में तो आ जाइए। परंतु वो सबों ने कहा कि हम आएंगे, और एलआई ने क्या किया, सबों को केवल इतना ही पूछा क्या आप जा रहे हैं, क्या आप जा रहे हैं, उस पर कोई नहीं आई। चीज समझिए कि भय का कितना बड़ा माहौल है। सदन जिस हिसाब से संघर्ष करके टिकी हुई है, वह एक दैवीय यहाँ पर कृपा है जो हम लोग टिके हुए हैं। नहीं तो जो तंत्र विकसित हो गया है तो देश को कहाँ रसातल में ले जाएगा तो मैं अभी नहीं कह सकता हूँ।
ठीक है,
लेकिन इतना जरूर है, हमारे पर्यावरण को पूरा पूरी और गंगा को पूरा पूरी हरिद्वार में नष्ट कर दिया। कोई बतावे, चोपड़ा जी है, हरिद्वार से कितना % गंगा जल जा रहा है? हरिद्वार से मेन धारा में गंगा जल की मैं बात कर रहा हूँ। एक तो गंगा जल अपनी गुणवत्ता को डैम के चलते खो चुका है, और पूरा गुणवत्ता वाला गंगा जल हरिद्वार से कितना % जा रहा है? 96% जल तो नहर में चला जा रहा है, 4% जल जा रहा है। और यहीं पर जितना जल जा रहा है करीब उसका आधा या उतना ही सीवेज ट्रीटमेंट प्लांट है, उसका ट्रीट किया हुआ पानी चला जा रहा है। गंगा जल पूरा यही समाप्त है। तो गंगा हरिद्वार में ही समाप्त हो जा रही है, उस गंगा के लिए जो इतना खर्चा हो रहा है ये क्यों? और हम जब सानंद जी यहाँ थे, उमा भारती जी आई हुई थी, और उनसे क्या बात हुई एकांत में मैं नहीं कर सकता हूँ, लेकिन सानंद जी हमको बताए थे कि जब चर्चा हो रही थी निर्मल और अविरल गंगा की, तो मोदी जी बात खबरदार अविरल की बात मत करो, निर्मल की बात करो, ऐसी उंगली उठाकर बोलते। ये बात सानंद जी हमको कहे हुए हैं कि उमा भारती उनको बोली थी। तो जब मोदी जी स्वयं अविरलता के विरोध हैं, और यही कारण है कि उमा भारती को जाना पड़ा। तो इस ढंग से जो कोई अभी जो जल शक्ति मंत्री है, उनको तो गंगा से कोई मतलब नहीं है। गंगा जो परम द्रोही है, उनमें मानवता नाम की चीज नहीं है। हमारे पास पूरे प्रमाण है, वो हमको वचन दे करके सीधा कर जाते हैं। जो अधिकारी यहाँ बोल के गया है उसे अधिकारी पर दबाव डाल देते हैं।
ठीक है, मैं
गंगा का इतना द्रोही बैठा हुआ है, इन लोगों का एकमात्र उद्देश्य है कि वोट बैंक से खूब पैसा लें और नमाम गंगे के नाम पर पैसा का लूट करें। जीपीसीबी और एमओईएफ में एक भी अधिकारी हमको नहीं मिला इतने में जो ईमानदार हो, मैं दावे के साथ चाहता हूँ। एक भी अधिकारी सीपीसीबी में और एमओईएफ में एक भी अधिकारी हमको ईमानदार नहीं मिला। कितना का शिकायत क्या शिकायत तो मतलब नहीं हुआ। तो जहाँ भ्रष्टाचार का ये आलम है, जहाँ संवेदन शून्यता है, जहाँ भय का ये रूप है कि तुम ये करोगे तुमको मार देंगे, जहाँ तो नहीं होने देंगे। आप एक छोटी सी बात सुनिए, सानंद जी को यहाँ से ले गया, 24 घंटा के अंदर मारा, और जो पोस्टमार्टम हुआ वह उस एम्स ऋषिकेश को उसी दिन पोस्टमार्टम कराने का परमिशन मिला था। और सानंद जी का पहला पोस्टमार्टम करने वाला ये है। और जब मैं उससे रिपोर्ट मांगा तो वो कहा दिया कि आपको रिपोर्ट नहीं देंगे उनके घर वाले को देना। और घर वाला कैसा, जब हमने कहा कि रिपोर्ट लेके दो तो हो। इस ढंग का जब तंत्र विकसित हो जाए जिसमें कि पोस्टमार्टम रिपोर्ट जो यहाँ थे, कि ये कौन नहीं जानता कि यहाँ अनशन शुरू हुआ, हमको कैसे अधिकार नहीं है कि उनका पोस्टमार्टम रिपोर्ट कम से कम हमारे पास आ जाए। सानंद जी के बारे में हमने 156 में केस किया। जज महाशय थे, एक बढ़िया जज, उन्होंने सुना और फैसला के लिए डेट रख दिया। वो पूरा कन्विंस थे कि हाँ जांच होनी चाहिए, मर्डर हुआ। लेकिन फैसला के 2 दिन पहले उनका ट्रांसफर हो गया। जनवरी महीना में ट्रांसफर नहीं होता है, और जनवरी महीना में जिस दिन वो फैसला करते उसके 2 दिन पहले उनका ट्रांसफर हुआ है। और जो नया जज आया वो क्या करके उसको कोरोना हो गया। ये इसलिए मैं इन बातों को भी उठाया हूँ, और लोगों को इन बातों पर भी ध्यान देना होगा कि यदि वो केवल मारता जाएगा और हम लोग चुप हो जाएंगे, कितना हमारा शहीद हो गया, इतना हमारा शहीद हो गया, अगले शहीद हो जाए, ये नहीं। ठीक है, हम तैयार हैं, अनशन से मरने के लिए तैयार। हमें अनशन से तो मरने दो, तुम बीच कितने मारते हो, हमें छोड़ दो। हमें तो संतोष होगा कि हाँ गंगा से अनशन करते करते हमने अपना प्राण दिया, क्या किया है, हमें इसके लिए हम गौरवान्वित होंगे। लेकिन इसके लिए नहीं हम अनशन करेंगे या तुम उठा के बीजे के मार दो।
बड़ी
और इसमें जांच करने में क्या क्या सरकार को लगता
बड़ी
है?
बात आपने बड़ी बात कही। आप थोड़ा मेरे से आपसे विनती है, आप बने रहिए, क्योंकि रवि चोपड़ा साहब से बात करने के बाद फिर मैं तुरंत आपके पास आऊँगा और आपके प्रमाण भी जो भी है, ये एक लाइव शो है, आप जो भी मुद्दे उठा रहे हैं ये सीरियस मुद्दे हैं, बहुत ही इम्पोर्टेंट मुद्दे हैं, उसके पूरे प्रमाण भी देने की मैं इच्छा भी रखता हूँ आपसे। मैं फिर आपसे बने रहूँगा, आप बने रहिए। थोड़ा उसको आवाज़ को थोड़ा बंद करिए। ये आवाज़ मैं बंद करता हूँ, आपकी आवाज़। रवि चोपड़ा जी, इट इज़ अ बिग statement which Swami ji has made, and एक बड़ी मुद्दा उठाई और बड़े मुख्य अंश उन्होंने अपने सामने लगाए। अनशन करने नहीं देते, उठा के मार देते हैं, ना पोस्टमार्टम रिपोर्ट मिलता है ना कुछ भी, और सीधा प्रशासन और न्यायाधीश पर भी उन्होंने ये साजिश रचने की आलोचना की है। और साथ में ये भी दावा किया कि हरिद्वार में 90 के ऊपर प्रतिशत गंगा का पानी वहीं पर रुक जा रहा है और जो भी पावर में है उसको गलत तरीके से इस्तेमाल कर रहे हैं और पर्यावरण भी उससे नष्ट हो रहा है। रवि चोपड़ा जी, आप ये या प्लीज।
Dr. Shiva Prasad,
sir,
do you have specific question that I should respond to?
Very specifically, Swami ji has very clearly stated that those who are fasting, they are being lifted and killed. There is no post-mortem report, and judge was also transferred in the ambit of judgment, and he says very clearly 90-95% of Ganga's water in Haridwar is diverted towards politicians, illegal mining or whatever it is. So it is creating havoc, and the stone, they are looting the stone. It's a big mafia which is in function. How do you react to this? You have been appointed as the chairman of 2 committees by Supreme Court.
Okay. Dr. G.D. Agarwal was first a scientist, and as far back as the 1970s, as a scientist, he wanted to verify his faith. His faith told him that Ganga Jal cannot be polluted. It has unique self-purifying capacity, and we all know that because if we collect Ganga Jal in a bottle of water, cap it and leave it somewhere, it does not putrefy. Now he wanted to understand the science behind it, and he got his students to do research, and they came to the conclusion that there was a special purifying capacity which was much greater than that of the Yamuna and other rivers in the world. Later research showed that it was probably due to the presence of the kind of soil that came down the Himalayan slopes, the vegetative debris that came into the river that gave it this special quality. Now, after the construction of the Tehri Dam, all that soil and debris, the sediments that come down from the high Himalayas, they are trapped behind the dam. What flows below is water without those sediments, and it is those sediments that generate and regenerate the capacity of Ganga Jal to purify itself. Therefore, Swamiji has said, and this has been proven, NEERI did a study, the National Environmental Engineering Research Institute in Nagpur. They did a study about 2011, they published their study, and they said that there is a special kind of bacteria which exists in the water. It is called a bacteriophage. It has the capacity to kill all kinds of other bacteria. And the sediments give it place to multiply itself. So if the sediments are not there, the bacteriophage cannot multiply and therefore the capacity reduces. It was also shown by another institute, Institute of Microbial Technology in Chandigarh, also a government institute. Their study showed that when Ganga Jal has to stay in a reservoir or pass through a tunnel, its interaction with air decreases, and that reduces its capacity to purify itself. So when you combine both these things, then one of those two reports, I forget which one it was, said that by the time the water comes down the Tehri Dam, it has lost over 90% of its self-purifying capacity. But at that time they said, don't worry about it. Alaknanda has very similar properties, and the water of Alaknanda and Bhagirathi will regenerate as Ganga. Now, today there are dams on the Alaknanda, there are dams on the feeders to Alaknanda. So all that property of Ganga is disappearing. Now, what is left in Haridwar? What goes downstream from Haridwar? You may be shocked to know that even in the lean season, almost the entire flow of the Ganga is stopped in Bijnor at a barrage and diverted. So what you get after Bijnor is just water that comes in from small streams and rivers that feeds into the Ganga. So all those devotees who are taking their baths in Allahabad and in
Ravi Chopra ji, I think there is some technical snag on you. Is it with everyone? It's really mind-boggling. Yes, sir, the mischief has started to play around. In between, we lost your voice. Ravi Chopra ji.
a sponge. It is full of water when the river is in full flow, when there are rains with water, and it gradually releases it. Sometimes it releases it to the floodplain, sometimes it releases it to the river if the level of the water in the river goes down. So, the sand is able to supply water to the ground water aquifers. It is able to supply water to the river. And by mining the sand, we are diminishing the capacity of the most potent water supply that any community can have. Take, for example, the towns on the banks of River Ganga. They have a lot of groundwater. It's coming from the massive monsoonal surface flow which these sands have absorbed in the bed of the river and on the floodplains. But we are constructing buildings, we are constructing stadiums, we are making roads all along on the floodplains of the Ganga and diminishing its capacity. Farmers are crying in many places कि हमारा पानी कहाँ गया? Okay, so their livelihood is being affected. And for water supply of the city, we then have to bring water from faraway places like Delhi gets its water, a large fraction of its water from Tehri Dam. That has fallen short. So now they want to build another dam in Himachal Pradesh, the Renuka Dam, to supply water to them. Now, we must be aware that today we are in the grip of the climate change phenomena. The frequency and intensities of the extreme events that are taking place. You experienced one extreme event a few years ago in Kerala,
Yes.
where you had tremendous flood, the kind of flood you had not seen before. And we are seeing this not only in India, we are seeing it in every continent of the world. So we need to realize this. We also need to realize that this kind of climate change threatens everybody. It's Mother Nature's warning to us. Sambal jao bachcho, nahi to shamat aayegi. And it's a warning not to tamper and destroy her creations. So it's high time that we all came together. And here I would like to tell the viewers that when Swami Atmabodhanand did his last fast, the 194 days fast, I remember somebody asking him, कि आप ये क्यों अनशन कर रहे हो? And his response was somewhat like, look, I am a South Indian, and South Indians belong as much to the Ganga as North Indians belong, or Ganga belongs as much to us as to the North Indians. And therefore, his fast was symbolic of this ownership of the national river. It's a national river. It is not North India's river.
Yes, natural resource.
And therefore, we need to, all of us come together. We need to propagate these issues amongst our communities. Whether you are born on the banks of Krishna River, or somebody is born on the banks of the Kaveri, Godavari, wherever, it's very important to realize that what is happening in the Ganga Valley today has been happening in your southern rivers also.
Yes.
Okay? Almost no water of the Krishna reaches the Krishna Delta today, and therefore the salt water from the sea is all coming into the Krishna Delta. Okay?
Yeah. Another, I think the last one I'd like to ask you, because you have been a chairman appointed by the Supreme Court. Now, when you look at the scenario of today, as you rightly said, whether it is Tehri Dam or dams on Alkananda or Bhagirath, now they are not allowing the natural Ganga to run down the streams. That would have helped people with drinking water facility, and also with such water, if you irrigate, if you use it for agriculture or growing anything, that would have been of much health in, when you take it as health perspective, environment perspective, it would have achieved. Now the dams are in place. Now more and more dams are happening. How do you look at this scenario? Now what should government do? What should judiciary do? What should people do? Because natural resource belongs to every citizen of this country. Every citizen born in India is an owner of this natural resource, whether it is water or anything else.
As Swami Shivanand ji has already highlighted, the first thing is what you said, what the government should do is to respect the laws that are there on the books, not to tamper with them, not to weaken them, not to literally they are getting rid of all the safeguards that have been put in place since the 1980s. That's the first task of the government. The task of the judiciary is to be fearless. I say this with all due respect to our courts, that sometimes the court is fond of distributing loaves and fishes equally. What should we do? We need to first of all get ourselves educated about our natural resources. There was an old bureaucrat many years ago, and he said that Indians are a resource illiterate people. We have no idea of our resources. We need to educate ourselves. We need to educate and inform ourselves of how to keep these treasures, these natural treasures. Nature intends us to use them, but to use them in a renewable manner. And so how do we use them in a renewable manner? Okay. These are very broad comments. As far as the Ganga specifically goes, the government has at different times said, okay, we will agree not to build any more dams. Okay? Now, if in 2019 you say that you are not going to build any more dams, जो 50% से ज़्यादा बन चुके हैं, उनको हम पूरा होने देंगे. But no more after that. If you are not even 50%, you have to stop your construction. The government should respect its word. I personally have no doubt that when we are pushed against the wall, when humanity, not just Indians, all humanity is pushed against the wall for survival in the era of climate change, we will come to our senses. We will undo all the wrongs that we are doing today. And I have often said this, that by the end of this century, Ganga will be a free-flowing, unpolluted river from Gomukh to Gangasar. This is my conviction. I may be wrong, but it's my conviction.
You mean to say all these
But
dams?
it will not happen automatically.
Yes.
People will have to come together and work for it. Okay? People will have to demand. Today, people are not demanding this. Okay? And that's the importance of shows like this that you are organizing, where we get a chance to share this concern with a lot of people and they can respond.
Before I just ask some other participants to come on live, your report on the dams and how it is ecologically disturbing, how good it would have been for environment, your report. And the second aspect, yes, your conviction, I am there with you, and with that conviction only I am trying to do this show, connecting people from Kerala across India, so that people will get sensitized how Ganga is being ruined. You both the reports, in which way you think they have really destroyed environment and the nature? Whether it is dams, you need dams there. Were they essential?
You see, dams are a technology of the last century. Their time is over. This is not the century of, we are living in a completely different world which we don't seem to realize. I mean, what climate change is doing to us, and this is going to accelerate very rapidly in this decade. It's not going to be happening in 2040 or 2050. It is happening now, and it is accelerating now. So, we will have to get rid of the dams. They are a technology of the last century. We've got some alternatives. We've got solar power. There are places that can access wind power. All these things are possible and they are happening. That's the good part of it, that they are happening. But the central fact that we must keep in mind, and we often forget it, is what is driving this demand for energy. What is driving this demand for energy, as GD used to point out, is consumption. And all the economic models of the world today are based on that you have to consume. If you consume, you will destroy us. So we have to learn how to live within limits. And only when we realize that, then we begin to save our forests, we begin to save our mountains, we will then regenerate our rivers. Without saving our forests and our mountains, we are not going to regenerate the rivers. I can assure you of that.
But at the same time, last one, now he clearly stated it is mafia, the ruling party, because he's directly naming them. When such people are involved and that money is used to win elections or to frighten people or to buy everyone, every set of the society. How do you look at this scenario as an environmentalist and as one who is fond of water? How do you look at this scenario? Swamiji, enraged.
You know, the present situation is that even in our own state, people are not that well informed about all this. Though newspapers keep giving you stories every now and then, but then people read the newspaper for 5 minutes, read the story for 5 minutes and forget about it. They are on to something else. And the newspapers are showing them beautiful advertisements of what you can buy. So they are going out to buy those things. I think that, as I am saying repeatedly, it is the inevitability of climate change that is going to make us rethink the way we are living, the way we are organizing our economy. And it is at that stage when we will start demanding that our forests be saved. You know, who is demanding that forests be saved? A few people. Okay? Unless the masses begin to say, no, we want our forests, we want our mountains, and we want our rivers. Until then, we are going to suffer a lot of misery. And Swamiji is right that there is, you can call it a mafia, there is a mafia that controls the purse strings of the political parties. And therefore, when the BJP is out of power, they criticize the Congress for not controlling the sand mining. By the way, it's illegal sand mining. When the Congress is out of power, it will blame the BJP government. You are not controlling the illegal sand mining. They are only exchanging places. They are not changing any policy. They are not going after the illegal miners. Okay? So that's very clear proof that they are all serving the same masters.
That's great. All serving the same masters. I would love to.
Yes,
sir. I would love to. Yes. I would love to have you again. We will do series till.
You can fix up a time with me.
Yes, I will. Through Sandeep ji, we will speak to you because we have to do it in series. Thank you, sir.
I have to thank Sandeep also, and you especially, for giving me this opportunity to say a few words. Thank you.
Pleasure, sir. Pleasure. Take care, sir. Take care. Sandeep ji, now what next? You have been fighting right from the day one to save environment and at the same time to sensitize people of their rights. Now it's a big statement made by Swamiji and seconded by none other than Ravi Chopra ji. It's a big statement. How do you look at this? Masters, this way or that way, the purse strings, and people are not acknowledging the importance of forests, rivers and mountains. It's a pathetic situation.
So I believe it is not just a fight to save Ganga. It is a fight to change the nature of politics in this country. And that is what I have been doing through my Socialist Party India. You know, we want to free the politics from the clutches of these mafia so that the political parties can truly represent the people. See, right now what happens, when we vote, we think we are voting our representatives. But when these representatives get elected as MLAs or MPs, they are no longer accountable to us. They are accountable to their party bosses, who are, if you go to the farmers movement in Delhi, you will see this very clearly. There are posters in Singhu where Mr. Narendra Modi has a chain around his neck, and one end of the chain is in the hand of Ambani, and the other hand is in the hand of Adani. So, and Mr. Modi has 4 chains, and one chain, ties to News 24, the other to the Republic, and the third to Aaj Tak. So, this is the nexus which is controlling this country, and we have to free the Indian political system from this nexus, and that is the only way, we can get rid of this kind of system where mafia dominates the politics. So, Shiv Prasad ji, I have to leave because from 8 o'clock there is another session on farmers movement.
Yeah.
But I am very thankful to you for organizing this, and please give chance to everybody who is here to express their views because you have very little time left.
Yeah, I know. I'll make them to speak, but you should come back with the series with all these dignitaries. Let us do it in series till we achieve
Sure.
to save forest, mountains,
Yeah, you
and
have said that you.
yeah.
No, I support your idea of doing a series on this. If you can have one session every week,
Yes.
then we can bring in other guests. Yeah.
Wonderful,
Thank you.
wonderful.
Thank you
It
so
will be there. It will be there. I can assure you, reassure you. Yeah. Varsha, acha, Manisha ji आ चुके हैं, Manisha Bhargava ji. I wanted her to actually anchor, but she came very late. Yes, madam. Yeah. How do you look at this scenario?
Actually, I am there since the beginning, but my video is going on and off. So I'm listening to Swami ji as well as Ravi Chopra ji and Dr. Sandeep Pandey. I was listening to all of them. I want to just put up just 2 points
Yep,
because
please.
I see the time is coming close.
Yep.
Importantly, we have to really look at dam as an ecosystem and damming as a part of political ecological process. So it's dam is like a Faustian bargain. I don't know how many of our audience will know about it as an economic theory. It's a very typical Faustian bargain, I will say, where few influential people trade something in the name of supreme moral and spiritual importance, I will say, to showcase to the masses some material and worldly benefits, So if you really go out to the people and say that dam is not good, it won't work. Because the political narrative behind the dams is that it is for more water, it is for better agriculture, it is for better economy. So it is only the environmentalists who are seeing the long-term impact of dam. Now the other part of dam and looking at a democracy, they are completely related. Dam is an autocratic process of water governance. I study water governance for last 25 years. So dam is already anti-democracy of water. When a country has more than 10-15 lakhs of lakes and ponds and streams and tributaries, and we have hardly spent not even 1 to 2% of the total money we spent on large hydrological projects, it already speaks of the kind of democracy we were emphasizing for last many decades. So there we have already shifted from the governance we had actually even in the British time to the governmental approach of water, where government will decide how much people will have and what people will have. So in principle, dam has been completely, and it was very rightly said by Ravi Chopra ji, that dam was last century's thing. And last century was, it was dominated by civil engineers. But this century is dominated by climate change. Nobody can take away the discourse of climate change in the name of development. Now, when we talk about achieving 5 trillion economy and this and that, are we talking about environment in the 5 trillion? We are not. So let us not forget that the world has not achieved any of the sustainable development goals, and India is one of the countries which is at the last in the queue. And sustainable development goal 12, which talks about responsible consumption and production of goods, is completely mismatched of our 5 trillion economy goal. So even if we stop the dams which are under construction, the very idea of dam will anyway disappear in this century. And I completely back Ravi Chopra ji's dream, because whether we like it or not, it is going to happen. So can we not strategically plan it accordingly and make dam itself, make water governance itself more democratic? See, dam is a reflection of the way we are having democracy today. We are not having democracy in this country. People do not have voice. People do not have, a dissent. People do not really feel free When we see a police, we get scared. When we see a politician, we think that they are going to suck us up. This is the kind of system we are living in. Dam is very much like that. So as a water scholar, I'm always relating society with what is happening in the water. So I think I will stop here because I know your time is short.
No, okay, you can speak because you can speak because you are a water scientist and because you come from Ahmedabad. And now even Mr. Rupani, I don't know how.
I come from
Modiji's, that's what I don't know.
I come from Modiji's constituency, ex-constituency, you mean to say?
Yes.
I have been working on lakes and ponds for a long time, and I do strongly feel that they are actually a direct reflection of empowering local people, whereas dam is about power game. It takes away the rights and the power from the local people because it is controlled, and it is naturally, it has to be, local people cannot control dams, So one thing is that the power of water, which is now in few hands, now it is manifested in the form of politician, it can be manifested in the form of businessman, it can be manifested in the form of sand mafia and all those things. But if you really want to study the way dam functions and you study the way a democracy should function, we can completely have a pattern of how by the building of dams, we actually increased our water problems in last 75 years. If you look at the statistics of water worries in the country and even in the world for that matter, we have many-fold increased the water problems in the country, right, despite the fact that we have so many dams. Then is it not the right time to rethink and look for a radical approach to really see what is better for people? The problem is that we do not have communication between the people and the government. See, our chief minister resigned 2 days ago and a new chief minister is made up. Was people consulted for the new chief minister in Gujarat? No. So where is democracy when we are not electing our chief minister? When the chief minister gets elected from the top, what is the point of democracy then? This is exactly what is happening with the dam. Dam decides how much water to go from Haridwar to X place and Y place. So if water management is people management. If the world is realizing the problem of dam, India has to also realize the problem of dams. India has to also realize the problem of losing democracy. We have read, all of us sitting in this platform are reading time and again from United Nations to every big media houses who are talking about India's democracy at risk. Is the government listening? Government is not listening. So see, we are at this moment in a two-edged sword as a democracy, and we are also in the same situation in terms of water governance. How much money is spent. I mean, I can talk about my own city in Ahmedabad because I feel jealous of Ganga, to be honest, sitting in Ahmedabad, because everybody wants to talk about Ganga. Nobody wants to talk about all these rivers which Ganga is representing. So if Ganga is to be discussed, we need to also see if Ganga ki ye halat hai, then what is the halat of other rivers in the country? So you can imagine a river which is the mother, which is talked so much, which has invested so much of money into it, is still in a bad shape. I want people to come and see Sabarmati, where more than 800 crore rupees have been spent on riverfront development, and it is still world's among the 10 most polluted rivers in the world. So where are those 800,000 crore rupees gone? 800 crore rupees, sorry, 1,000 crore rupees. If that 800 crores of rupees cannot clean a river, what is the point of that project? This is how dams have also worked. From Gangotri to Ganga Sagar, if Ganga is not flowing, then we are just working on water. So as a society, I usually don't blame politicians and sand mafias. I will be very honest on that, being a governance scholar. Because all these politicians and sand miners and businessmen are my relatives, Somebody is chacha, somebody is bua, somebody is uncle, somebody is son, somebody is cousin. So why are we just passing the buck to others? As a society, all the elites' children are living abroad. They don't care about the environment of this country. They are sucking resource If Elon Musk is using Earth's resource to send people to Mars, people of my country are not doing very different by sucking the resource of this country, putting the money in Switzerland or sending their children to America. You go to America and Europe and Australia and find out all the middle class people's children are studying there. 90% of them, 99% of them self-funded. Where is that self-funding money coming from? That money is coming from sand mining from Haridwar. That money is coming from riverfront development. This is not distance ourselves as citizens from the inherent problem we are now owning, which is called corruption. Corruption is our new religion, unfortunately. It is the most favored religion, whether you are in the Hindutva side or in the non-Hindutva side. And water is at the receiving end. But being a water scholar, I always believe, and I'm very positive, like Ravi Chopra ji, water is going to do its bit and it is going to give us our lesson. The unfortunate part is that water is not seeing religion, water is not seeing caste, water is not seeing class. So often, the vulnerable groups are at the receiving end of the water crisis. The water crisis in the country is highly manufactured and manipulated by those few who have engaged in, as I mentioned, with the citizens of India. But come on, citizens of India are also not naive and honest. I know I'm on a platform, which is a public platform. Let us look at ourselves also. If we are supporting, if we don't know who is my local leader, what on earth tells me that I should vote for a prime minister or a chief minister? First thing first, a citizen in this country does not know that they are not voting for prime minister or chief minister. They are voting for their local councillor and municipal, leader. And then still the election commission approves these kind of things. This is how judiciary also approves large projects. In the name of that, it is in the beneficiary of people. Because people are not coming together and asking money for their own lakes, tributaries, small ponds. That money, if it is given to people, it is true democracy, and actually that can solve the problem. We have successful examples all over the country where lakes, ponds, and small stream rejuvenation have actually revived the irrigation, revived the agriculture, revived the economy, and also worked on the well-being of people. So as a country, are we really looking for economy or for the well-being of the people? This is the fundamental question. I think also Fridays with Future people are also asking as a youth, that are you giving us money or you are giving us good environment and good water for future? Because money cannot buy good water and good air. That we are seeing. The same air Prime Minister is also breathing in Delhi, what a street dweller is breathing. So let us not, fool ourselves in this, in the name of economy. We should not do that. Water democracy will be required whether we like it or not. And the answer is very simple for water democracy: empower the local people. We have lakhs and lakhs of lakes and streams in the country. Divert that money from big water infrastructures to the small water infrastructures to solve the water problem. Now, to get energy problem, we have enough dam made, and I think that there we have to have a full stop. Now, coming to the point of Atmabodhanji, me being a professor, I'm always thinking, what is this youth doing today? I'm concerned. Because on one hand, most of the parents are educating their children to go and make good money and good name and good building and have 10 cars, 2 cars. You see all the cricketers and elites here. And now I see a small child from Kerala coming to Ganga and talking about water democracy or fasting for Ganga. It is beyond my imagination. I am also going to meet him to just understand what is going on in his head. But somewhere, what is inspiring to see with people like Atmabodhan ji is that younger generation is realizing the mistakes my generation and senior generation has done. Probably they will and probably in future we will see more Atmabodhan ji than we are seeing today, because they will have no choice. Atmabodhan ji did it by himself, but in future they will have no choice than to take the path of democracy and path of environment. So I think the younger generation, we are really doing some injustices to them by just giving them balance. not giving them good air and good water.
It's a big
Of
statement.
course, we are also not giving them good values. That's the problem. Just go to school. We are not teaching them to become good human beings. Education itself is for employment. It is not for enlightenment and not for empathy. Our environment education is so hollow.
I know, it's a big
So
statement.
I think unless and until we really talk about water as a democratic system, we are not heading anywhere here in this conversation.
Wonderful.
So I will stop here, I think.
Yes, yes, madam. Because you have just given everything, and stay put in because of last comments. Because before I make Varsha ji, how do you look at this scenario? Water democracy. It's a big statement made. Our education, our children only for employment, rather enlightenment and environment. Because you come from that background. So how do you look at this scenario, Varsha ji?
First of all, thank you for giving me this platform to talk. As far as I was hearing Dr. Mansee, and she is very well said, and I was thinking about what the problems can be. I think one of the problem is population. Population is also the major problem because we have very more people and very less resources. So this is one of the reason I feel. And as far as Ahmedabad is concerned here, I would like to tell something about Maitri Sadan also. Ahmedabad he was a budding engineer and he left his studies, and then he was so much interested in his spiritualism and environment protection. He just shifted his from education to this path. So Maitri Sadan.
One second. या बात करिए क्योंकि देयर वाज सम डिस्टर्बेंस. या बात करिए. वर्षा जी बात करिए. आपका वॉइस देयर इज सम डिस्टर्बेंस. जस्ट ट्राई टू स्पीक. या देर इज अभी आ रहा है. बात करिए. Now you remove those earphones and speak, madam. I think the earphones is causing a lot of disturbance. You remove those earphones and directly speak into the phone or in the laptop. या बात करिए.
Is it okay now?
Very much okay.
Okay, this is fine. Okay. So I was telling, so they are fighting continuously for the past 20 years, more than 20 years, for the protection of environment and also against corruption, and especially for Ganga ji. You know that Ganga ji is being exploited by selfish, greedy human being despite getting the human status by the Supreme Court. Now Maitri Sadan, following the Gandhian way, it's non-violently moving ahead to save Ganga. And I would like to tell you that Maitri Sadan has done 66 satyagraha or Anshan so far. And this fast by Brahmachari Atmagodhananji, this is the 67th one. Now, when they had started 20 years ago, the duration of the fast were at 1 day, and now it has become to maximum 194 days.
No, great.
So altogether in the 20 years, around 2,500 days of fasting. You can say it's about 7 years of fasting only. So what happened in the beginning, the government used to get alert within a few days, but gradually the government started connecting the environment with the commerce, and especially Ganga ji being exploited like as a money-making machine. Then the sensitivity towards the fast decreased and the duration of the fast kept increasing. and the dealing with the non-violent satyagraha by the saints of Maitri Sadan, it became more and more violent and inhuman. I would like to tell that prior to 2005, the satyagraha, all the satyagraha were dealt peacefully, but in 2008, Brahmachari Yajnanand, he was fraudulently picked up by the plain-clothes police and he was put in jail. Next year, that is in 2009, Brahmachari Dayanandji, he was forcibly taken away by breaking the bulb of his room at night. And in 2011, this was repeated with Swami Nigmanandji, who lost his life. Again in 2015-16, Gurudev, Shri Gurudev, who was on tapasya, the policemen did not care about the sanctity of the ashram, Yagyashala and the puja grave, and they went there. Even in 2017, when Gurudev was again on tapasya, he had left even water. The police entered the ashram, breaking the gate and also broke the door of Gurudev's room. Next comes then 2018, Swami Sanandji, he too was forcibly taken to the hospital. Along with the chair he was sitting on, and he was shouting that I am fine, but police did not listen to him, and he too died under suspicious circumstances in AIMS Rishikesh. Now after that, Swami Sanandji was saying, then who will follow? It takes a lot of time. So Maitri Sadan said that we will continue your fast. And then Brahmachari Atmabodhananji carried it forward. And he too met with the same fate. He was forcibly taken to the AIMS Rishikesh, where he was poisoned, but timely he was saved after bringing him back to the ashram. For about 6.5 months, that is 194 days. The director of Namami Ganga gave the letter that his demands have been accepted, but they asked 7 days to comply due to election in 2019. Now when 7 days time limit increased to 7 months and not a single reply to the Maitri Sadan numerous letter, another saint, Sadhvi Padmavati, she started penance. Now she was treated very badly, and being a woman, and disgraceful attempt was made to taint her character also. You can imagine it was a fierce struggle for her. Now Shri Gurudev and Brahmachari Atmabodhananji continued to do tapasya again and again and endured the misbehavior of the government. Now Maitri Sadan is never going to give up. Today is 28th day of the penance of Brahmachari Atmabodhanand. He has given up food and he is taking only water and lemon. Now what I want to say that Maitri Sadan, this is not going to give up very easily, or I should say it is never going to give up. This is what I wanted to say about Maitri Sadan. He heard that what Gurudev he says, he will also not back down. I think that's all I want to say.
What about you as
And
an
if you have any question?
What about you as one from Haridwar? What would you like to say? The world is watching you.
Sorry, can you repeat? I couldn't hear you.
One from Haridwar, what is that you like to say now in the context of killings, masterminding with poisons and mafia threatening, and you have seen how the character of Srimati Padmavati ji also being derided. What would you say to the world from Haridwar?
Yeah, I've been associated with Maitri Sadan and their struggle for the past more than 22 years almost. And what I've witnessed in Haridwar Ganga, the damage has been done by mining, and the damage has been done by constructing the dam in the hills. But that was Ravi Chopra. What I can say, we can just gather and just explain them and inform them what the damage is going on.
Right. What the damage is going on.
So they should come along.
Right.
Yes.
Yes. Then I'll go to. Yes, madam. Vidhi Verma ji, before
Thank
I
you.
come to Triple F, because Triple F are very professionals when it comes to environment, I'll come to her in the last because that will be the passing message which I have been associated with Triple F in South India also. विधि वर्मा जी बताइए, आप क्या करना चाहते हैं? बेंगलुरु से आप हरिद्वार आ गए, हरिद्वार में क्या हो रहा है? ये माँ गंगा के साथ क्या हो रहा है?
और बहुत जो भी हो रहा है बहुत बुरा हो रहा है. I was born and brought up in Haridwar. I spent my early childhood, first 17 years of my life before I moved out to pursue my studies and to pursue job. I have returned now, and it is astonishing and deeply dissatisfying, disheartening to see the damage that has been caused to the river in the last 3 decades. I have spent my childhoods doing picnic by the river literally every day, drinking water directly from the river, anywhere and everywhere. We used to take Ganga dips almost every Sundays. We used a habit. And now the state of water due to the entire commercialization and touristization, I don't know if that's the word, but that's the feeling that I want to highlight. The divinity and the sacredness of Ganga has been completely lost. I really ache when I see and visit Ma Ganga because I know what her true potential is, the kind of peace, serenity any person would get when they visit. And that's why Ganga Dip Lena has been there as a part of our Hindu Sanskriti, our Indian Sanskriti since time immemorial. There is a different kind of peace that people travel from far away, from all parts of country and from beyond India's boundary as well, to come here and experience that peace. It is very dissatisfying to see, disheartening to see that our government, and really it doesn't matter which government, political party they are in, because they are somehow, all of them are of the same mind. They just think of Ganga as a physical resource to do, either to create tourism opportunities or to create some electricity or to keep things at a very, very materialistic level. The divinity, the piousness of Ganga, nobody really talks about. All the discussions, and I'm very privileged here to be a part of the discussion where we have eloquent speakers like Dr. Ravi, Dr. Mansee, Sri Gurudev, and Dr. Sandeep Pandey-ji, who all talk to us about very, very scientific aspects of how to restore the divinity of Ganga. But just allow our generation to experience this divinity of Ganga, which probably all of you might have heard of, or maybe if you were lucky enough, you have experienced it enough. Because if not done that, kids like me or the generation which is coming next will never get to see what Ganga is. They will only see Ganga as a river. They will only see Ganga as a place to create hydroelectricity. They will like to see Tiri Jheel not as something which is literally the destroyer of Ganga, but rather as a place where you can do water sports in the Uttarakhand. No, we have to change our lens literally a 180 degree, not see it from the way of commercial, capitalistic, Western kind of lens, but see it in its purest, truest form, and then try to bring it in today's world. All anshans of Maitri Sadan are in endeavor to bring that, to restore it, to restore that equilibrium back to today's world. Because if we don't do it, we are doomed. To all the viewers who are here from different parts of the country, my message and request to all of you will be, it doesn't matter if you relate to Ganga, if you have seen Ganga or not, it doesn't matter. What matters is that there are 2 very important keywords. First, we need to make climate change and saving of environment a priority. Let's not get lost in the entertainment of binge watching series, of eating, of consuming more and more, and consider that only as our aim. Because if we do that, our generation will be doomed in maybe 1 or 2 decades more. There is nothing left that we will give to the next generation. The priority, make this a priority. Climate change is here. We used to study this. We used to study the depletion of ozone layer when we were kids. And it is here now. And Dr. Ravi Chopra ji absolutely rightly said, when acceleration happens, everybody is aware of basic physics, right? When acceleration happens, it comes like this. And I think in the last 5 odd years itself, the amount of catastrophes the world has seen across, it's just a culmination of all the decisions that have happened at a political, at a government, at a social level in the last 20 years. And this will only increase. In fact, I was really shocked to read a fact that I came across some time back, is that coronavirus is one virus, and it doesn't matter if it was man-made or, it's a natural virus, it's immaterial, but the kind of lethality the coronavirus has, there are 300 million, or probably the figure is billion, I don't know, I don't really remember. 300 million itself is a very, very big number. Different types of bacteria are right now frozen in the ice sheets of North Pole and South Pole. Even with the climate change of 0.5 degree, when the ice melts, all of this is going to get released into our ecosystem. Right now, it is really, really locked and saved under the massive sheets of ice. But we will see coronavirus every day coming, because that will come and become a part of our water system. It will become a part of our air. And human bodies are not equipped enough to change it, to become immune to all of this. Our bodies are not capable of it. And no amount of vaccination can treat that. So climate change is real. We need to act with priority now. That's point number 1. And point number 2 is the sense of urgency. We talk a lot about many things. We take 5-year plans, 10-year plans, 2050 development goals, sustainable goals. But fact is that we have to start now, and we have to start as if the damage is already done. Because if we don't do it, we are done. As humanity, we are done. So with this, back to you, Dr. Shiva Prasad. Thank you for allowing me this time and space.
No, you spoke wonderfully well. The acceleration but has already started with Sandeep ji announcing that we will have regular weekly shows till we sensitize people. It will be a mass movement. I am there with you. Nothing is more important than this. As you rightly, very in an amplified way, clearly, strategically stated that the bacteria under the ice, they are waiting. Any change, it is going to be catastrophic than what corona might have even not done. As a doctor by profession, what corona is, we'll speak later at least. They have created a fear psychosis. Now that fear psychosis in the form of environment, that will be much, much better. If we can safeguard, protect, first understand you are right, then you will get into all these modes. So, Fridays, Triple F, how do you look at this scenario now? Yourself, you people are into environment in a big way. They are very widely connected across India and across globe also, because they regularly keep appearing on my channel and they keep messaging me so many evidences across with which I make my live shows. How do you look at this scenario, Ridhima Pandey-ji? Now, national resources is everybody's treasure, and Brahmachari Atma Bodhanand-ji traveling from Kerala, because from where I am son-in-law of Kerala, I am beaming this live show from here, connecting people across India. He is trying to sensitize the world, because Ganga is Ganga to the entire world, because you have Himalayas, everything. It's a big disaster which is in store now. Yes, Ridhima ji.
Thank you, sir, for this opportunity, I would say. And it's just that being an activist, being from a generation who has suffered a lot, seeing kids out on the streets struggling because of air pollution or water pollution and not getting the proper environment to live in, it's just that most of the time I do get mixed feelings as to what's been happening in the world. Sometimes it's just like some of the things would make me feel things are going on really good. As if it's just like, seeing kids of my generation, seeing people like Vidhi, she's from my generation, when I, listen her speaking, it just creates a momentum where it feels like, things are in a positive way. but when it comes to, the hunger strike that is going on at Maitri, then it just makes me feel that a lot of destruction is happening. And, there are strikes that are happening, not only just, the strikes that we as Fridays for Future, we as kids hold, but, strikes that, saints like, saints at Maitri Sadan are holding. There's been numerous number of strikes that are happening. But the thing is that the government isn't really responding. The government doesn't really care about, even if the kids are dying, if the saints are dying, it doesn't really matter to them, because at the very end, they are only centered about gaining money, having more and more profit, and it just ends up at the economic development, which I feel like we have pursued in a wrong way. And it's just like, when it comes to the cleanliness of Ganga, we have seen it's just like more than 20,000 crores have been spent since 2015. But what has been the result? I mean, when I, try to do some research in many of the articles I see, so it's just like there's some pop-up questions that occur on Google if people might know, and it comes up, has the Ganga been cleaned? And to my surprise, it was written that Ganga has been, the quality has been improved. But as of what we living in Haridwar have seen, it's just like it has not improved. It's just like I myself can't say it has improved, to be honest. But it's just like, there are many channels, news channels, because as of what I feel as being from, as from being this field, as a journalism, I feel like their duty is to tell people the truth, but what they themselves are doing is just, creating and spreading a false information just to be, just because they like the government or whatsoever. I just don't really know. But that sort of is the wrong thing, because it's just like even my friends out of India, or, it's just like our teams out of India, when they do the research, they are like, oh, there are many things that are happening in India. But to be honest, for me, as of working in India, it feels like there is not much that's been happening. But people outside India, as of what they see the reports, they feel like there's a lot that's been happening. So it's just like, everything has just been going on in paper, and just like, on ground work, no one really cares of, because as of for the people itself, no one really cares of the ground work even, because people living in Haridwar won't be knowing about the strikes that are happening in Maitri, and most of the people won't know about those things. Or even if they know, they won't really want to support that, because that's not sort of is their interest rate, or it's not, a point which they feel like is important to them. So I just feel like that people also neglect these kind of things when it comes to, cleanliness of candies or support from where they are. When if you put them on camera, they would be like, oh yes, we have to do this or that, but their daily life is totally opposite of what people have been speaking. As of, we can see the government itself, what they speak is totally different from their actions. So I just feel like it's just like, there are many things that need to change. And it's just like, in order to change everything, it's just like, we have to be mindful of what's been happening. And it's just that what I feel is that we have to conserve what is left with us, instead of saying that, okay, we'll create more of.
I think there's some problem with your video, Ridhima Pandeyji. Yeah, you speak. Keep speaking. That's okay. Your voice can be heard.
Okay. Yeah. So what I was saying is that, the words are totally different from the actions of people. And when it comes to, conserving, people are like, oh, it's just like when it comes to planting the trees itself, people are like, plant more trees. But man, you're not even saving what's left with us. You're not saving the forest lands, and you're saying that we should plant trees. You'll plant tree, but you'll cut a 10, 20 or 30-year-old tree, which is giving us a lot of oxygen, which is the bounding point of our ecosystem. So cutting a 20-year, 30-year-old tree and saying that, we are planting more trees isn't really justiciable to me. And when it comes to the Ganges itself, it's just like, people say that, okay, it is Ganga, it's just like, when it comes to people and most of the so-called ashrams, what I have seen, they would pray to Ganga, they would do aartis and all those stuff. But when it comes to the reality, I've seen not only just STPs, but most of the ashrams, their drainage pipe, those pipes are straight into Ganga as well. They're throwing their waste into the Ganga, but so at the back they're throwing their waste into the Ganga, but from the front they're like, we are the followers of Ganga, we'll do everything for Ganga. But in the reality, they are those who are destroying it. So I mean, it's just like that we have been living in this materialistic world, and we have been living in this selfish world where everyone just thinks about themselves. And it's just that it's just like earlier Mansee ma'am was saying about that the older generation, they have to make sure what they want to left for the kids, whether they want to leave the money or whether they want to leave the environment which would help us to live. But at the same time, there are kids out on the streets, those who doesn't even have that money that some of the kids out there are having. So it's just like it's just like most of the people just doesn't think of their actions and how is it going to impact the kids, the poor, the local communities, or the ones on the front line. So I just want to say that you have lived your life, but it's just like there are many generations to come. There is my generation, those who want to live a happier life as of what the older generation did. And in order to maintain the ecological balance, they have to be mindful. And it's just like the very first thing is to change our mindset. When we change our mindsets, I guess most of the problem would be solved. And yeah, it's just that the things are really, really worse right now. And to be honest, I've been to South India as well and seeing it's just like what I feel is just that so we had this huge strike there, and I saw a numerous number of kids joining there. But when I did a climate strike in Haridwar, no one really came. It was just 5 of my friends striking. So it's just like that shows what the kids know. It's just like the kids out here living, right next to Ganga doesn't know, how polluted Ganga is, how bad it is, how, badly Ganga is impacted, and how badly the people have been impacted for those who, who the Ganga is one of their water resources. So I mean, there is a lot that needs to be changed, a lot needs to be taught to the kids, to the older generation specifically, because, I am not riding a car, I'm not the one owning the factories, I'm not the one destroying the things, but still I'm the one most impacted. So those who are having the power in their hands needs to change. So I guess there is a lot that needs to change in terms of, the government, their policies, their, the action, having things on ground. It's just like, for me, there is a lot to change. But the very first thing would be changing people's mindset and educating everyone of the problem and, making them realize that, yes, it is a big problem and climate change is there. Many people have died and most of the people are struggling with it every single day. And us being the responsible one, or us being the one having some resources with us, we should try our best to solve this problem, because if everyone just would be like, "Main kyun karu?" and someone else would do it, then things would be worse and worse, and there would be a point of time that human would be extinct, as of how the dinosaurs got extinct. As of what I believe.
I'd like to add something to you, and Miss Mansee and all wanted to leave, but just 5 minutes we'll wind up. Let me tell you, Ridhima, you have so many generations representing this live show. I am very fortunate. I'm thankful to Dr. Sandeep ji. You take Swami ji, Ravi Chopra ji. They belong to some age group. Then you have Miss Mansee and myself, and I don't know how old. There may be some difference. Then you have Varsha ji also in our group. Then you have the other Verma ji, Verma ji, and then now Ridhima Pandey. Even you are from different generations. Now when we are speaking with full knowledge of all these generations. So don't think you are alone. We are all there together, and this will be a regular live show, an acceleration part, as Dr. Sandeep ji very clearly stated. So many generations representing into a common cause. This cause is the natural resource which belongs to each and every citizen of this country, irrespective of whether they belong to south, north, east or west. That is why you see Brahmachari Atma Bodhanand ji fasting in Haridwar for Ganga, though he belongs to Kerala. That is the beauty of it, right? So many generations, and irrespective of regions, we are fighting hard, because this climatic change, as rightly pointed out by all our predecessors, is going to cause a lot of damage. Until and always we realize and get sensitized, it's not going to. So we are all there with you, don't worry. And we'll just take leave before I say Dr. Vijay Verma ji, and last word will be with Swami ji, and if Mansee ji can. Yeah, Vijay Verma ji, there was Kallola ji, I think he is from West Bengal. Water, air, light, earth, mountains, forest, everything belongs to common people. So all these are property of commons, not the wealth of government. And it is our duty to spread the news of Maitri Sadan's fight for river Ganga to every corner of our country, because Ganga is the lifeline of almost 50% of nation's population. Verma ji, your word before I go to Swami ji, and if Mansee ji loves to add something, I will welcome. Yeah, Vijay Verma ji. Yeah, you just unmute yourself, please. ये हरा होना चाहिए. This red one should turn into green. This one. Your audio, this is audio. Click on this. खाली इसी के ऊपर कर दीजिए. ये ग्रीन हो जाएगा, हरा हो जाएगा. या बात करिए.
Hello.
Yeah, sir. Please.
Hello.
Yes, sir. Please बात करिए.
It is okay now?
It's okay, sir. Please.
Thank you, Dr. Shiva Prasad. You are anchoring a very
some disturbance with your voice. वर्मा जी, या बात करिए.
Hello.
या बात करिए.
Hello.
बात करते जाइए आप. वीडियो का कुछ.
I feel like you are a emergency doctor saving the patient in ICU. So
Yes, sir. Please go ahead.
I must thank to all, and I listened carefully, especially Professor Ravi, who ended with the very positive note that the forest and everything will be comes, and Mansee has really precisely and perfectly diagnosed about the dams, corruptions, and the democracy. Practically, these dams are destroying democracy. You see, everything is interconnected. We are connected with you through the Kerala people and the Kerala people here with Ganga, with environment, and everything is interconnected. And our mind too, our body too. The people who are breathing the same air, they don't know that this air is become scarcity of the oxygen. Vidhi just ended her conversation with Corona. Now come the exploitation of the environment, and you will feel that at this hour of the Corona, there are three things where it is most important: oxygen, ICU beds, hospitals. And you will be surprised to know that this oxygen coming from where? This is directly extracting from the air, and the oxygen being manufactured from the leaves, and without leaves the oxygen cannot come. This is the simple knowledge they don't know, and the leaves cannot survive without water, and the leaves cannot survive without sun even. When there will be no leaf, no forest, then there will be sun.
Photosynthesis.
And when there is sun, there is heat.
I'll add a
Climate
technical
change,
word.
there is no
Photosynthesis.
oxygen.
Photosynthesis I'll add for your.
So this is all things are going on. This is clear-cut message, and the message is just you are just putting in their minds of the bureaucrats, the mafia naxes, and everyone who is destroying the Ganga. Ultimately, they have come to the truth. They will certainly realize. They only realize when the life at the end, either due to Corona, from behavior. Now come, there is already so much talk has done about the situation, about the Ganga pollution and corruption. But now I just focus on the Atmodhanand fasting. Varsha has plainly and very precisely described all anshans right from the 1997 onwards till now. So at the moment, Maitri Sadan is at the point of winning. We are going to win because these 5 demands, which are very, very accurate demands, that the whatever is happening, either with the Nigmananji, second demand with the Swami Sananji, third Padmavati ji, and fourth, all the promises, written promises was given by the government of India, they should be materialized. They should be come to at positive end. So now this fasting is not only for the Ganga, it is also for the establishment of democracy, establishment of the truth. This is for country because pollution and corruption, they both things go together. And without corruption, there will be no pollution. And corruption means that our mind is wavered towards the other things. If it comes towards the right thing, there is no corruption. And without corruption, we can live healthy, happy, and prosperous life. So now I will just conclude my words that at the moment, this is a need of our, that Atmodhanand fasting should be, must be support with every means. And whoever is listening must write down to the Prime Minister of India, government, United Nations Human Rights Commission, where my petition is also pending and they are doing it. They must get this message through you that this fasting is going on and it is nearly 1 month will be completed on 18th.
Again, we lost your voice, Verma ji. You are at the crucial juncture when we lost you. Yep. Yeah. Yeah, Mansee ji, you would like to add something before I say bye to through Swamiji's message?
Yes. Yeah. Thank you, Dr. Shiva, because I have to leave also, and I was very keen to listen to Ridhima, to be honest, being a teacher. I would like to conclude with a couple of lines. So one thing is that we all need to understand that water management is society management. We really don't need to do anything with the water. We need to just manage the people, not manage the water. First thing first, younger generation has to understand, and this is where we talk about politics and corruption and all. But to conclude, I want to actually share a few lines from Kabir, and that's why we need to talk about Ganga and all other water bodies. Is one of the very strong lines which Kabir said so many years ago. The river that flows in you also flows in me. So it's all one water. We are just carriers of different, we are different carriers. So basically all carry bags, carrying water from different parts of the world and the country. So, and another important thing which Kabir also said, and we are talking because of that, is, and it is a metaphor which is used with the fish, that the fish in the water that is thirsty needs a serious professional counseling. So actually we have all the solutions we know. We have to just work on it. And the last and important Kabir's Doha, and I want to relate it with climate change. Kaal kare so aaj kare so ab, pal mein parlay hogi, bahuri karega kab. See, so humanity has been facing this problem since antiquity, and we have to find our ways by human communication. Nobody else is going to come in between. People have to communicate with each other. Leave the water as it is. Water knows what it has to do. When it will be angry, it will get floods. It will get into another mode. We have to just conduct our moral values better. And thank you for having me. And thanks for everybody to enlighten me again on the issue which is going around.
Definitely do share your mobile numbers also. You have that tomorrow, because we will go. I will repeat this on Environment People tomorrow at 11 a.m. I will share that link. And today's link also will be eternal. This will not be edited. My shows will never get edited. So the same link will be there on Dr. TSPR channel. Tomorrow it will be retelecasted at 11 a.m. on Environment People channel, so that you can carry it eternally to nook and corners of the country. Let us, because we are not last generation on this earth. We have to understand. We have to pass on all these natural resources to our next generation, because we should be selfish here. Next generation means your own kith and kin are there. They themselves, from there it will go to someone else. Right? So we are not the last, and that's what the Kabir Dohe I am trying to put the end part of it. So before I go, yeah, Mansee ji.
Announce here.
Yeah.
Just want to announce and also encourage Ridhima and request you that we are trying to run this Fridays with Future, and I try to get voices of younger generation to say on different topics. So that can be also roped in this sequence, you know. So we are doing it for 6 months now. So
You can add, you can count, you can count this channel support wherever you are, whenever you want. I can prepare a poster and select the topic, because I can connect people from wherever you are. You don't need to come to any studio, nor I need not send you any camera. And this channel is going to be eternal. It will be a game changer. Ridhima ji, don't worry. This will become mainstream, because at your comforts of home, you can speak. Your expressions, you can, no question of any pabandi. I feel at least you should be honest towards the show. No question and answers. Live show on the topic, on the fast, why, what is happening with river Ganga. We are straight away gone ahead. The same thing will be there in every show. Select the topic. I am there with you. And Swami ji, आप क्या कहना चाहते हैं अंत में? आपके साथ हम इस शो को एंड करते हैं आज. ये अनम्यूट करिए स्वामी जी, ये हरा होना चाहिए, इसको हरा कीजिए. बोलिए.
First of all, I thank all the participants who are concerned about the Varsha of Atmudan. And you demanded some proof. The allegations I have collected some proofs, and if you stay, I will send all of you on your email.
Yes, sir.
Because proofs are necessary. First of all, I am showing you the order of the CBI court. Dehradun, who has clearly told that there had no investigation at all properly, and ordered CBI to do investigation, further investigation, giving some points. This is on in 2015. Yet CBI has not started.
ये थोड़ा आप ये स्वामी जी, आपका ईयरफोन जो है, ईयरफोन जैसे हिलने से आपका ये आवाज़ आ रहा है. अगर वो ईयरफोन निकाल के आप डायरेक्टली उसमें बात करिए और ठीक रहेगा मेरे ख्याल से, क्योंकि इसका जो ये माध्यम से अब बात करिए. या बात करिए. यस सर.
And we have given a complaint to the court, and this was first just when the judge was in agreement with our logic, judge was transferred, and this petition was rejected by the other questions. Second, we'll give you all the proofs which we have collected about all our allegations, and if you show in your next show that how the governments are suppressing not only the demands but the actual allegations that they have killed our saints, they have killed the tapasvi who are doing tapasya to save Ganga. This is the question, main question for the youth, for the generations to come, that can we have we not right to protect ourselves, to protect our environment, protect our Ganga? Now, if you are raising the points there, what will be the indication? The voice of Himalaya will echo from the ocean. Then whole of the country will listen that the whole of India one, and the person belonging to Kerala is in Himalaya doing tapasya or Ganga, and that oil must rest from the south in the whole of India. We have to clear the fight. This is our just impression that if you raise the question, other channels will have to hear. What happens in the Nigman case? He was doing tapasya for 115 days. No channels given the news to the world. But at once when he died, Ramdev was there in the hospital, and all channels were there, and they had to telecast it, and the whole world knew it. In this way, it will just send this message to the world. It will be grateful for us, not for us, for whole of the country. Thank you.
You are being listened to the entire world is a witness to today's live show, and I promise you, next show, either I will make you as a presenter, or else if you send me, I will present everything online, live on the screen, all your evidences. You select the date and time, and I am there with you. I will present every evidence on the screen. I am not worried. I will present every evidence on the screen. Yes, I am announcing it now, because the next in series will be the evidences from Swamiji, from the ashram. They are going to present all the evidences. They will run live and you will speak, and we will have all the guests also to again echo what is happening with Mother Ganga. So, with this, I promise you. Yes, sir. Yes, Swamiji. बोलिए.
Please send your email.
सेम टाइम आप बोलिए नेक्स्ट वीक कब आना चाहते हैं आप टाइम डिसाइड करिए. आप नंबर भी शेयर करिए, मेरे नंबर के साथ में भी है, आप जुड़िए. आप संदीप, या मैं संदीप जी से भी बात करता हूं, क्योंकि ये सीरीज में लेके जाएंगे, क्योंकि ये आप जो भी बात किए हैं ये आधार के साथ शो रन होता है मेरा. तो आप सब आधार हम जो है नेक्स्ट शो में, अगली शो में हम सब आधार, स्वामी जी के सब आधार, किस तरह जब अनशन पे बैठे लोगों के साथ बर्ताव हुआ, सीबीआई ने क्या कहा, और ये सब चीज़ आधार के साथ अगली शो में, अगले बार. राइट सर, नेक्स्ट कमिंग वीक वी विल अनाउंस इट इन एडवांस with all this distinguished guests will be there, and till that time you support Dr. TSPR channel, Citizens Dr. TSPR channel, Environment People. This show will be re-telecasted tomorrow on Environment People at 11 a.m. So kindly support, and as Dr. Vijay Verma requested, write to Honorable Prime Minister of India. We have shown what he spoke. Thousands of crores of rupees is being spent on cleansing the river. Mind you, I have been telling you right from this show, you are a constitutional authority by yourself. Unlike other countries, we are a republic. That means every citizen has got his own rights. So we ourselves constitute a democracy. And don't forget, very clearly, this is a republic. That means गणतंत्र देश है हमारा ये. We have submitted this constitution to ourselves. हमारे संविधान, हम अपने आप को समर्पित किया है. आप जो है संविधान शक्ति है, हर एक नागरिक जो है संविधान शक्ति है. Every citizen is a constitutional authority by yourself, by ourselves. All these governments, Prime Minister to Chief Minister, Cabinet Secretary to Chief Secretary, they run by the taxes paid by us. Kindly understand, they are our servants. मालिक नहीं है, क्यों डरते हो आप? Remove fear. This show has been trying to create that sense of reality wherein every citizen understands that you are a constitutional authority by yourself, you are bound by fundamental rights, the taxes paid by you, these governments run for your welfare, even if the development, whether it is crushing those Himalayan mountains, should be in favor of ourselves, yourselves, not for 1% who are taking the money away in the form of dams and all those abnormal or mafia happenings. When there is no water coming from Himalayas down the lane to Allahabad, where did this money go? Thousands of crores. And the rock, the sand. What is happening? And very clearly she stated 0.5 degrees difference, the ice, underneath the ice, the bacteria. Just imagine what would happen. Corona is just minimal. So, I request to all honorable citizens, get sensitized through Ganga, through Himalayas. Let us save India and Indian culture, Indian traditions. Kindly understand. See you next week with all evidences in continuation. Let us all support Brahmachari Atma Bodhanand Swami and the Maitri Sadan's struggle and all those Haridwaris who have united. We are there with you. Don't worry. Young Pandeyji, don't worry, we are all there with you. So take care for all Indians. I say Sukha Nidra Shubha Ratri for the world over. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Thank you, sir. Take care. Bye.